So we are recording the sessions too, and we'll just share our. So namaste everyone. This is Asmita from Isatya, and a very warm welcome to everyone in this Meetup 28 with the theme blockchain and scalability. This Meetup 28 is organized by Isatya, a Rumson company, and Blockchain Foundation Nepal, and supported by Ecosystem Support, CSIT Association of Nepal, Digital Notice, Prime IT Club. Talking about Isatya is a blockchain-based company that specializes especially in developing the blockchain-based products as well as providing consultation about blockchain technologies through various blockchain sessions. And from the last 2 years, we are also conducting the fellowship program and providing fellowship opportunities, which is supported by the ecosystem support. And as well as we monthly conduct blockchain meetups like this one for all our audience. Meanwhile, Blockchain Foundation Nepal is a not-for-profit community that aims to create a blockchain ecosystem by supporting the blockchain enthusiasts and blockchain innovations in Nepal. Likewise, the Ecosystem Support Program, which is one of our supportive partners for the policy, is a branch of the Ethereum Foundation focused on supporting projects and entities with the greater Ethereum community in order to promote the success and growth of the overall ecosystem. And Digital Notice Media Lab is a premier media agency offering a hub of top-notch media services for blockchain-related platforms in India and flourishing throughout the world. And here, CSIT Association of Nepal is a non-profitable social organizations of CSIT students that act as a bridge between the faculty students and IT industries in Nepal. And lastly, Prime IT Club is a student IT club dedicated to empower IT knowledge between the students. And let's move to our meetup, blockchain and scalability. The main mission of this meetup is to let know everyone about the blockchain's use cases and how it's being scalable in the current scenario, since it's quite a hot topic these days. So to initiate to highlight this initiation as well as to get a proper and strong knowledge from the industry expert, Isate has themed this blockchain meetup 28 to be around these premises. And we'll also keep the floor open for a healthy discussion at the end of the event. For the speaker, we have separated 20 minutes each. And for the audience, if you have any queries, please write them down in the chat box below, and we shall discuss it at the end of the event. And for your knowledge, I just want to share that we are also going live through our Isatya Facebook page, and this will be also shared by our supportive partners page. And we shall be collecting the question from from the comments over there too. So without further ado, let's start our meetup with our first speaker, Muhammad Soeb. He is the CEO and co-founder of Digital Notice Media Lab, Notice India's first and only blockchain media agency. He is an avid keynote speaker, blockchain educator, Web3 developer, entrepreneur, influencer, YouTuber, and technology futurist. And with over 5 years experience in this field of blockchain technology, he leaves no audience unentertained, uneducated, and inspired. So from his session, I always feel refreshed about the blockchain technology. So without taking further time, I just want to welcome our speaker. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Shoaib, and thank you, Ashmita, for that wonderful introduction of mine. So basically, before starting the presentation, I would just wanted to thank eSatya and all other organizers for setting this meetup and giving me the chance to present my views on today's topic. And this is my second time with eSatya on some interesting topic. And today we'll be talking about blockchain and scalability. So Now, yeah, the very you must have heard or you must have read a lot of times about that blockchain has an issue with scalability, and we've seen this again and again with different sort of uh, blockchains. So we need to understand actually why do we have such kind of problems. To understand that thing, we'll come back to this slide about understanding the problem after understanding the three most important factors of blockchain. The very first is decentralization. I guess everyone knows what decentralization actually means. So it's basically a kind of a network. Decentralized decentralization is something where there is no single authority, no central authority ruling a network. So it's basically a network of different nodes where each and every single node has equal value and they have equal role in that particular network. And that's what is actually a decentralized pattern. Now, the second factor is security. So I'm just giving you an overview right now because I think that most of you must be aware of what exactly I'm talking about. But when we'll be talking about the problem of scalability, we'll be discussing all these things in detail. Now, security is like, uh, you must be aware that the blockchain is very secure, but even though there is a 51% chance of attack chance. So what 51% attack is that, say for example, if in a network there are 10 nodes and you hack 6 of them, say for example, so that's 51% attack, where you have majority of the nodes in your favor and then you can manipulate anything. So that's a kind of attack that could actually work on blockchain. So security is again very important. So when we talk about decentralization together with security, so what does that mean actually is, decentralized, we consider a network to be very decentralized when it have more and more number of nodes, and it is considered to be like more than 1,000 nodes. If a network has more than 1,000 nodes, it's considered to be a good decentralized network. Below 1,000, it may be good, but it's not that good, because matlab, if you get to the future, if you talk about the future, we are going towards the quantum computing thing, and we may have chances where we could actually easily hack 500 or 600 of nodes of any particular network. So that's very much possible in the future. So a good network is which we at least have more than 1,000 nodes, that is considered to be a proper decentralized network. And the more numbers of nodes we have, the better decentralization we have. That's pretty much clear. And that particular thing, actually, that particular network is more secure as comparatively to the other less number of the network with a less number of nodes. Apart from that, we do have other things in the security as well. That in blockchain, we are using the DLT technology, which actually distributed ledger technology. So we'll be getting into that as well in the future, in the upcoming slides. And the third most important thing is scalability. Now, scalability means like, we've started a blockchain, we've started something, and now we have more, every single day number of transactions are actually increasing. So now we need to have more nodes in the system or in the network, so that where all these transactions could be verified easily without uh, affecting the speed of the network. So that's one of the things. So today we'll be talking about on these three things, and then we'll be able to understand why scalability is actually an issue for the blockchain. So basically, let's talk about the very first generation of the blockchain. When I refer to very first generation of the blockchain, that means I'm talking about the Bitcoin's blockchain. So in the case of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was invented, the whole idea behind Bitcoin was to form or to invent a financial infrastructure where we could have a network which is decentralized, no central authority, and the second part was, the very first one was decentralization. The second part was the P2P transactions, that we could, if there is a person A, he wants to make a transaction of some funds to person B, so there should be a transaction, and that transaction should be between A and B directly peer to peer, without the interference, without the need of a third party. So that was the second motive of Bitcoin, what Bitcoin actually dreamt. Now the third part was, because the transaction is actually taking place, this transaction should be validated, and the network itself has to validate, because there is no third party for the validation part. So we actually, the network needed a consensus algorithm for that purpose, and that consensus algorithm could vary from blockchain to blockchain. But in the case of Bitcoin, it was POW, that is proof of work. I guess most of you must be knowing what proof of work means. So basically, our requirement was that we should have a decentralized network. The second thing was that we should be able to have a peer-to-peer transaction system without the need of any third party, and our validation, our transaction should be validated, for which we need a consensus algorithm. And after the validation of those particular transactions, those should be written somewhere. Those transactions should be stored somewhere in sort of a ledger. So we needed a ledger. So in the case of blockchain, what it was planned was that we'll be using a distributed ledger technology and distributed ledger concept. So every single node has a ledger, and every single transaction that's being validated is being written by every single node. And that is why that particular network was, that particular ledger was immutable ledger, because everyone was carrying that, a copy of that ledger. So now you must be aware that if someone comes out, if a hacker tries to hack this, and he tries to hack, say for example, that was a network of 1 2 3 4 5 6, and he hacks 4 of them, so he'll be able to change four four nodes, the ledger of 4 nodes, but he'll be not be able to if he is able to change the the, the data in any 4 nodes, so he's actually taking like the 51% attack. So he's controlling a majority of the nodes. So that's what 51% attack is. So we needed a system, we needed a concept where the network should grow bigger and bigger, so it becomes more immutable. But the problem of scalability started occurring because initially the blockchain was actually tailored for the financial transactions. But later on, the concept of this distributed ledger and the concept of decentralization, it actually attracted a lot of non-financial applications as well. When I'm talking about non-financial applications, I'm talking about informational transactions. So if we compare financial transaction and informational transactions, so there is a difference between them, because when we are talking about an application that is dealing with blockchain and that is dealing with various transactions. For example, we could take it in a real time example of, say for example, there is a banking application that is using blockchain, for example. So this is a bank using blockchain for its purpose. And on the other hand, we do have a social media app that is using blockchain. Now, what is the difference? Basic difference is, when it comes to the banking transaction, we know there must be a certain limit of banking transaction. They will be limited, maybe like 100,000 in a day, or maybe a million in a day. But when we are talking about informational transaction, the interaction that's being done on a social media platform every single day, or maybe I should call it every single second. So there is a huge difference between financial transaction, the amount of financial transaction, and an amount of informational transaction. So for these kinds of non-financial application, we needed a bigger, better, and faster blockchain. But there is a problem in blockchain that is known as trilemma, blockchain trilemma. Now, what exactly is this problem? And this is the whole problem of the scalability of the blockchain thing, the problem of the scalability. So the blockchain trilemma is actually, it is assumed, or it is actually practically, it's actually is like that way, that if we try to improve the decentralization part, if any two part, or the security part, we'll automatically will have to compromise with the third thing. So this is very common. This is very common in the case of this. So for example, we'll take it another way. We want to scale a, say for example, we want to scale a blockchain. And in terms of when we are talking about scaling the blockchain, what exactly is happening? We maybe we are uh, trying to increase the number of nodes. We are trying to scale it. With when we are increasing the number of nodes, that means we are increasing the decentralization of that platform as well. But on some way, we will be compromising with this security of it. So this is that kind of a trilemma, that any two elements of this can be taken up, but we'll have to compromise with the third one. So it's always been the same way. But there are certain methods that been worked on, and still a lot of blockchains have actually trying to work on it. Even Ethereum is working on it. So these are the things actually that makes a problem for the network to for the that increases the scalability issue. Now, factors affecting the scalability of the blockchain, we'll be talking about the consensus mechanism, proof of work. So now we have a lot of consensus mechanism in the market, like proof of work, proof of stake, proof of history, and there are even a lot of them. So when Bitcoin was actually invented, the consensus algorithm used with Bitcoin and even Ethereum was proof of work. So let's understand what exactly proof of work was. So we had a network, for example, and whenever someone wants to transfer some funds to another person, what exactly was happening? That particular transaction was actually broadcasted to the network. And when that transaction was broadcasted to the network, every single node on this network was actually fighting among themselves. They were competing with each other to verify that transaction first. Whoever verifies the transaction first will get a reward for that. And after validating certain amounts of after certain amount of transactions, a complete block was created, and that's how blockchain is created. I mean, I'm not going into that detail, but the concept of proof of work is that every single node is competing to verify one single transaction, and it may take time. So that is why the TPS, transaction per second, of Bitcoin was 7 transactions. So Bitcoin was, what was the TPS of Bitcoin was 7. Ethereum, on the other hand, has a better as compared to that of Bitcoin, but not as good as other modern blockchains as compared in the market right now. So proof of work is this. Other hardware limitation of the nodes. So in the if we go back to the same example we're looking at, is that maybe there's a node, and there's a lot of data that we have to store in the net. And as we know that every single node has a copy of the ledger, there is a lot of data that has to be stored in the with them. So this is again one of the reason that there could be a hardware limitation of the, maybe the hash rate, or maybe the storage problem. It could be anything. I mean, so in terms of hardware, it could. The third is block size. So in various blockchains, we've seen that it's pre-coded that what is to be the size of the block. So the size of the block in Bitcoin was actually limited to something that was increased. If you must have heard about SegWit, so that was a method to improve the scalability in Bitcoin that was used in back in 2017 or 18. I don't remember the exact date. But SegWit, what exactly SegWit was? SegWit was to increase the size of Bitcoin block from 1 MB to further, whatever it could go to. But again, there was a problem with such kind of methods. Say for example, everything was planned accordingly. Say for example, if we have a block of 1 MB and we wanted to increase the block size to improve the scalability, what exactly is now happening, that the same block will now store more number of transactions, and maybe it is possible that it could actually hold some junk transactions as well. And the more junk transactions it will compromise with the security. So again, that I told you that it depends that what are these are the things that what methods are we using. So similarly, this is what exactly blockchain trilemma means, that we can enhance any two of these things, but we'll have to compromise with the third thing. But it's not like that we could not do. Even people are working around it, and a lot of projects have actually done a lot about this, and they've improved it. And some of the solution for blockchain scalability are better consensus mechanism, that is proof of moving from proof of work to proof of stake. So proof of stake actually has a different approach, and then the proof of work thing. And even if you've heard about Ethereum is willing to move, they've already working to move to proof of stake, and they'll be shutting down their mining whenever possible, when they'll be completely shifted to proof of stake thing. And even other projects, we've seen all the modern blockchains are actually using proof of stake instead of proof of work, because it's faster, it's more reliable, and it's more cost effective in terms of energy efficient. It's energy efficient. The other thing is sharding. Now, what exactly is sharding? In case of sharding, every single transaction is actually broken into smaller shards. these smaller pieces which is known as shards, and it's something like, say for example, there is a channel between A and B, and a transaction is to be verified between these. So it's something similar to, you can take it as like this particular channel is actually created into subnets, and these shards are actually executed parallelly. So a transaction is being broken into different pieces, and these different pieces are actually being validated parallelly. So this may increase the time of validation, and the network lag, it could help network lagging actually. So basically the whole thing of the blockchain scalability issue is the blockchain dilemma. If any project with a better consensus algorithm between using in its network, it can come up with the issue. So Solana is one, I guess, one of the project that has actually uh, solve the blockchain trilemma to some extent, but we've still seen a lot of lags in the Solana network as well, because Solana is using proof of history. So it's not possible for me to explain each and every consensus, because it's going to be a very long video. So I was able to sum up, because it's a very lengthy project if I talk about what is scalability, and because this kind of issue is actually in the permission blockchain. Sorry, permissionless blockchains. If we talk about the permission blockchain, the scenario is exactly different. And in the permission blockchain, a lot of scalability could be achieved, but again there is a problem of the decentralization thing again. So blockchain trilemma will always exist in case of blockchain scalability, unless and until we have better consensus algorithms, or maybe other alternative methods, like we are using nowadays. We have side chains, but when we talk about side chains, it's like creating a parallel chain. There is a main chain, say for example, there is a main chain and there is a side chain. So all the transactions are being validated in these side chains, and then the hash of the validated transaction is being written on the main blockchain. So this is what the concept of sidechain. This is one of the method or solution of uh, the scalability issue of blockchain. But again, when we are using sidechain, we are compromising with the security part. Then we have layer one blockchains. So their layer one blockchains are again similar to what's to some extent to side chains. So again, there is actually a level of compromise with the security thing, but still layer one uh, blockchains are doing wonderful, like Polygon and Avalanche. There are a lot of present in the market. But Solana actually did a very great job with the introduction of proof of stake along with proof of history. So proof of history has actually reduced its time to validate the transaction, because it's using another concept of snapshots in the proof of history, which has increased the speed of transaction. The TPS of Solana is around 50,000 almost. So it's near the only blockchain available today in the market right now is Solana, that could compete the real-time applications like Visa and MasterCards, so in terms of TPS. So this was the problem of scalability. I know this is kind of a complicated for newbies, but if someone knows what exactly I'm talking, so it would have been, they would have understood it well. So that was it in today's session. What I'm not talking about SegWit because SegWit was used by Bitcoin only, and that was about 2 to 3 years ago. And that in SegWit, the block size of the Bitcoin was increased, but we don't see the method again used in any other blockchain after that. And because methods most of the modern blockchains are already using proof of stake, and they've already been thinking about the size of the block. So that's it. So thank you for this session, and I'm really sorry I couldn't do my best because I'm not at all well. Thank you for being with me. I had a very bad throat today. So I'll be open to the questions for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Soeb. Thank you for joining with us despite of your poor health also. So thank you so much for the wonderful presentation and letting us know about the blockchain scalability trilemma and the security part. And so it's time for our next speaker. So our next speaker is Mr. Subhas Gautam, and Mr. Gautam is the co-founder of the cybersecurity startups reckonwithme.com and nasec.io, which was started with the vision to innovate application security, automation, and eliminate cyber threats. And he's also a blockchain enthusiast who is actively involved in side projects in Ethereum and Solana blockchain ecosystem. So please allow me to welcome Mr. Subhas Gautam. You can take over now.
Thank you, Asmita, for the introduction. So let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Hello, everyone. I'm Subhas Gautam. Like Asmita, as you said, I'm the co-founder of NASIC and Recon With Me, two cybersecurity startups based out of Kathmandu. Recon With Me is a web security scanner, whereas NASIC is completely dedicated towards cybersecurity resources, and it's one of the first, like cybersecurity from Nepal to perform smart contract audits, and like one of the first cybersecurity firms in Nepal to research and blockchain security. I'm also
sorry for interrupting. Can you please turn on your video so it would be more better?
Sure.
Thank you.
How do I do this? Okay, let me close the presentation first.
Sure.
Let me enlarge this. Can you guys do that for me? Because
yeah,
not
okay.
being able to. Okay.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that good? Okay, thank you.
Cheers. So yeah, I've been in blockchain for around 4 years, and apart from the companies that I founded, I'm also the head of growth of Zebek Protocol. It's a DeFi protocol based out of Solana blockchain. First of all, thanks to Mohammed Saif for touching the pieces on blockchain and scalability, because that is not something that I'll be doing. So my presentation will be mostly based on on the scalability issues surrounding 3 prominent blockchain in the world right now, which has a market cap of more than 60%. So I'll be talking scalability and blockchain on the basis of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana blockchain. And I would like to, start my presentation by talking a bit about the blockchain trilemma, which again, Mohammed Said pointed out in the earlier presentation, which was actually, phrased by Ethereum's co-founder, Vitalik Buterin. So what basically the blockchain trilemma talks about is that security, decentralization, and speed or scalability in a blockchain, cannot go all together. So what Vitalik at that point of time realized was, if you are to develop a blockchain, then you need to go with security and decentralization and compromise with scalability, or you can go with decentralization and scalability, but you might have to compromise with security. So this was something Vitalik realized in 2016, but then now the blockchain industry has changed, and a lot of innovation, mainly to scale blockchains is being done. Okay, so yeah, let's have a look at how scalable, three of the most popular blockchain networks in the world are. And this will be a general presentation. I won't, like I said, I won't be touching the basis. So, I'll try to portray in a more layman term. So the first one is Bitcoin, the second one is Ethereum, and third one is Solana blockchain. The transaction per second, number of nodes, and transaction fees are the factors that actually determine how scalable or centralized or decentralized a blockchain is. So as you can see, Bitcoin has a transaction per second of 3 to 7 transaction per second. Ethereum has a transaction, speed of 15 to 25 transaction per second, and Solana right now has around 2,000 to 3,000 transaction per second, but it can go up to 65,000 TPS as the team has claimed. So from here, you can see that since transaction per second, you can see that Bitcoin is the least scalable blockchain. Ethereum is the moderate one, whereas Solana is a highly scalable blockchain. But then if you have a look at the number of nodes that is being operated on these blockchains, Bitcoin has over 16,000 nodes on its running on its network. Ethereum has more than 5,000 nodes running on its network, whereas Solana has around 1,400 nodes running on its network. So basically what you can see it here is that Bitcoin is the most decentralized and highly secure blockchain because it has the most number of nodes running on its network. Solana is the least decentralized or least secure blockchain among these three. And the average transaction fees of Bitcoin is $1.1, Ethereum is $2.3, and the average transaction fee of Solana is $0.00025 which means again Solana is the scalable one, whereas Ethereum and Bitcoin are the decentralized and secure one, but they are not the scalable ones. So so that's what this slides talk about. Bitcoin is decentralized and secure, but it is not scalable. Ethereum is in between, it is trying to move on between POW and POS, which again Sahib talked in the previous presentation. So it might work a lot on its transaction fees and transaction speed, because it is trying to implement a new consensus mechanism, which is called proof of stake. And this is the meme that I found on the internet. What?
Sorry, there was a few disturbance.
No worries. So yeah, so this is a meme that I found on the internet, and which might be relevant because if any one of you here buy NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, then you can understand the pain of scalability, or because at its peak when Ethereum was trading at $4,000, you could buy an NFT for $25, but then in order to claim it, you have to pay up to $100 in transaction fee. So that's this was a huge issue, and Ethereum blockchain is trying to make a transition from it. Again, okay, so moving on, consensus mechanism is one of the most important factors that actually determines how decentralized or how scalable or how secure a blockchain is. So we'll talk a bit again on the retrospect to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So proof of work, you guys were able to understand a bit about it in the previous presentation. Is a consensus mechanism of Bitcoin, and basically this is a method in which nodes actually participate in the blockchain to validate a transaction in a block. It's also a method to incentivize the ecosystem, because the nodes which are able to perform that get the incentive in return, right? And Ethereum was running on proof of work before, but then it is moving on to proof of stake, which is a bit faster, has a better transaction speed and lower transaction cost. Solana completely introduced a new concept called proof of history, which is based on a universal timestamp. Like it's a very complex idea. I've not been able to, like understand it in depth, to be honest. But then it's because of proof of history. Solana is a like more scalable blockchain than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Again, if we're talking about scalability, then we should also talk about use cases, right? So the use case of Bitcoin so far is limited to a digital currency or cryptocurrency, whereas by introducing smart contract in 2014, Ethereum actually increased the scope of blockchain technology overall, because like through smart contract, people were able to build apps. They were able to build like this decentralized finance projects. They introduced the concept of NFTs, on top of which, right now there is a lot of innovation going on in gamify or like game finance, and also on metaverse. Solana is no different to Ethereum other than proof of history. So Solana is also doing everything that Ethereum has already been doing. So, a lot of projects are being built on Solana as well, focusing on, DApps, DeFi, NFTs, gamify, and metaverse. And Solana is the one that is actually taking the game to the next level. Okay, something that, again, cross-chain breezing is one of the new innovation that can actually help enhance scalability of blockchains, because like different blockchains, they cannot there's no way right now for them to interact between one another, which means then, right, if you're using something on Ethereum blockchain, then that is not, you cannot use the same thing on the Solana blockchain, and that actually hampers the scalability, right? So a lot of companies are working on cross-chain breezing, to actually increase the interconnectivity and interoperability between blockchains. And these are the few names. Polkadot, it's a blockchain itself that is trying to, establish a layer through which, two blockchains can communicate, can actually, make transfer of assets, and many more. And then we have like Portal by Wormhole, that already has a bridge to bridge between Solana and Ethereum blockchain. And then we have Sailor, which is also working on cross-chain breezing between Binance Smart Chain to Ethereum Smart Chain, and others. So like why we're talking about scalability right now is it's because like scalability is the new race in blockchain, because until and unless blockchain is cannot be used by normal people like us, it will just be an exciting technology and nothing more. And why scalability matters? It's because of this. This is this is a picture of computers taken in 1996. IBM model something, right? So imagine if computers would still be the size of a room, and imagine computers would still be used by corporations and not normal people like us. So the kind of innovation that we've seen in the past 50 years in technology and in even our daily life would not have been possible, right? So likewise, blockchain right now is limited to a certain number of people, because a lot of blockchains out there are not that scalable. But then once the blockchains figure out a way to be scalable, then blockchain will completely change how the internet works, and probably change how probably change our lifestyle as well. So this is it. Thank you. Any questions? Happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Subhas, for your presentation and letting us know about blockchain and scalability. And we are just waiting for the questions from our audience. So I'm just filtering the questions from responses which we have received. One of the question that hit at my mind was that what is the application of blockchain in practical life, or yes, the question was the application of blockchain in practical life rather than the scalability. Sorry. So can you please answer that? Anyone from our speaker?
It's very simple, to be honest, because like the practical implementation of blockchain will be that in coming 10 years, you'll be like directly paying bills to for your mobile phones or for any utilities. You won't be needing e-Sewa or any bank.
Yeah, so adding on to that, since eSate as one of the blockchain company, we are just trying to use the blockchain in the real life. So we have our blockchain best product. One is AgriClear, which we are using to track the supply chain, and next one is Rahat, which we are using for the which we are using for tracking the relief distribution system in Nepal. And there's two other products which we are practically using it in our lives. And we do have next questions. So I think it would be more to this vibe. So here's the question: what progress has been made in blockchain scalability and efficiency till now? So you can talk about from the India's perspective or from Nepal or for the world. So are you there?
I didn't get the question.
Sure, I'll just repeat that for you. So, what progress has been made in blockchain scalability and efficiency till now?
Yeah, there's been a lot of progress, as already Shubhas has been talking about recently, a lot of projects. So Solana is one of the projects that's made a great progress. Ethereum, on the other hand, is already working on the similar thing, and they're trying to shift from proof of work to proof of stake, and they're also introducing the concept of sharding as well to improve the scalability. Apart from that, we are seeing a lot of layer one blockchains recently. Most of the modern blockchains, they're already choosing the path of layer one, like already named few, like Phantom, Avalanche, Polygon. They are all layer one. So this is all being done keeping in the mind the issue of scalability, because we are seeing a lot of applications now coming up on blockchain. They're trying to use blockchain for different use cases. So these are the things to be taken care of, and a lot of projects are already doing it.
So thank you for your answer. We do have next questions. So I think I have just forwarded the question to Soeb also, and I'll be forwarding to Subhas also, that one of our audience is asking that Ethereum will be launching with 10,000
100K
TPS,
TPS.
and yeah. So
Yeah.
will it affect the current status of blockchain concept? Yes, Subhas, you can answer that.
Yeah, first of all, about Ethereum, would be great if Ethereum is able to achieve that TPS, right? But then I don't think we'll be able to achieve that in a short period of time, because it right now has around like 15 to 25 TPS, right? And regarding another question about will it affect the current status of blockchain concept? Blockchain. TPS has nothing to do with the concept of blockchain. But then again, it will definitely have a huge impact on the scalability, because the more TPS means the more scalable the blockchain is.
Okay, thanks so much for your answer. So we do have next question. So do you have the example of security concern regarding the efficiency of blockchain in transaction when 51% of the nodes get cracked or like that?
Okay, so I guess I should answer that, because no, it's not a big concern, because most of the permissionless blockchains, like when we talk about Bitcoin, it's one of the most secure one. If we talk about Ethereum, we do have a lot of nodes, so again, it's very secure. So we don't have, actually, it's not practical to get 51% attack on such kind of networks. But of course, if a blockchain is newer and it has very less nodes, yeah, of course, we can see a 51% attack in that. But when we're talking about older and bigger blockchains like Ethereum and blockchain, this is not practically possible because to crack 51% of say for example Bitcoin has like 16,000 nodes, so we need to crack at least 8,000 something nodes to achieve 51% of the attack. So cracking 8,000 systems, it's like cracking 8,000 systems simultaneously, and we do have a span of 10 seconds because Bitcoin's block is created after every 10 seconds. So within that particular 10 seconds, the Bitcoin the Bitcoin network actually goes into a consensus and synchronize the data. So what exactly is happening in every 10 seconds, every 10 minutes, all the data is being synchronized along all the nodes. And if that particular person or the hacker who actually is able to take on 8,000 plus system, he has only 10 minutes to change the ledger of those 8,000 plus machines, and only then and for that purpose he need to make a lot of transaction which needs physical electricity and physical energy, because Bitcoin uses proof of work. So this is all the concept, because that thing makes Bitcoin very secure. So we do not have, the answer is we do not have concerns regarding the 51% in the blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum for now. But for a newer one, of course, we may see in the future.
So thank you for your answer.
Adding up a bit here, like, this is a, like more of a behavioral theory, because like even if you read the Bitcoin white paper or anything, like, the nodes that are already participating in the network can only make this attack happen. And like if they in fact make this attack happen, then that will hamper the blockchain itself that they are operating. And like it will be a huge loss for themselves, right? And not anyone else. So they won't be doing that. So that it's more of a behavioral like theory. And I guess, yeah, again, like Soeb said, it's nearly impossible for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but then we do not know about new blockchains that will have fewer nodes.
So thank you, Subhas. So we do have a next question from our blockchain enthusiast. So here's the question. Can you elaborate more on how blockchain is going to change the digital banking and payments in Nepal? So I think Subhas will be a better person to answer this.
Okay, so first of all, it will take a lot of years to be able to like actually.
So can you please mute? There was some audience. No, you can continue.
So yeah, but like first of all, it will take a lot of years to actually to be able to make that happen. But then, in simple terms, like blockchain or any payments that happens on blockchain is a peer-to-peer transaction, right? So it happens between me and the other person that is trying to send the funds or trying to make the payment, right? So for example, like like I said earlier, if you're trying to make a payment, like to pay your utility bills to NTC, then right now what happens is like you have to pay that through a mediator called eSewa or Khalti or your bank, right? So in the future it will happen direct, so from the consumer to the one that is providing the service. So you'll be able to make the payments directly from your wallet. If like in the future we have a digital currency for Nepali rupee to the service provider that is trying to provide you the service, or the person that is receiving the funds. So it will be peer-to-peer, and that's how it will change the payment system in Nepal and anywhere else in the world.
So thank you for the answer. So we do have a next question from our fellows, and the question is, one of our audience from here has read in an article that to tackle the scalability issues, that there are layer 2 solutions. So can you please exactly what that means? So he wants to know more about this. So yes, so I or Subhas, anyone can answer.
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat the?
Yeah, so one of our audience has read in an article. So Subhas, are you going to answer it?
Yeah. I'm like, what he's trying to understand is, since like, there are layer 2 solutions already available to solve the scalability problem. So why are we talking about scalability? That's what he might be trying to say, but then the answer is they are not enough. So we have, like layer 2 solutions like Polkadot on the Ethereum blockchain itself, and a lot of other sidechains, but then they are also operating in a like very low scale, because even like Polkadot's TPS is around 1,000 transactions per second, right? Around that, which is not enough, like for blockchain to be adapted by a mass. So there are layer 2 solutions, but then they are not enough. So we need like more solutions, like, or new innovations that can actually address to the mass in terms of scalability.
Thank you for the answer. So I think we are out of the time. We only have 4 minutes, so I'll just take a last question for our meetup. So here's the question: is the blockchain niche for global market, or will it make some great difference in local Nepalese or Indian technology environment as well? So is that so? Shall I repeat the question? So the question is the blockchain niche for global market, or will it make some difference in the local society, such as in Nepal or India technology in its environment as well?
It's a global technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it will definitely make a great differences slowly in Nepal too.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not kidding, but then this will change how people think of a country or a border. So in the blockchain in the future will change the concept of borders or countries or anything.
Exactly.
I think we only have 3 more minutes, so I'll just wrap the questions quickly. So I think we are at the end of the meetup, and I hope you all enjoyed it as we did before organizing the meetup. And our whole team, including our supportive partner, would like to thank our distinguished guest speakers, Soeb and Subhas. Once again, thank you so much for your valuable time in our meetup, and we are equally thankful for all the attendees who have joined here with us through this Zoom and as well as through our Facebook page. Hope to see you soon at our next event too, and we'll try to make our meetup more interesting through your suggestions for the next meetup thing. And for that, please stay connected with us through our social media platforms, which are mentioned in the chat, which will be mentioned by Amina. And for attending our next meetup also and other events also, please do like and follow our ISATE's Facebook and LinkedIn page. We also update our events on meetup.com too, and these are the place where we usually create our events and post their details. And you can also follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and you can ask more about the blockchain technology. I'll be always there to help you all. And if I couldn't, I'll just connect with my team of the expert, which have been connected. And you can also suggest me there the topics which you want to hear for our next meetup. So with this, I just want to wrap up today's meetup. Till then, have a great time and stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.